Hey, hi all. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss about component lifecycle hooks, and there are actually four stages in which we can divide these hooks. The first phase is nothing but a creations phase. Then we have a change detection phase. Then we have rendering phase, and then the last one is destruction phase. So Angular components actually goes through all these stages, and then the life cycle hooks as well. So it starts by component creation stage and it ends at component destruction stage. Whenever you leave a particular component to visit a new component, then the previous visited or the last visited component actually gets destroyed, and then when you try to revisit it again initializes itself, and again it follows the four stages and all those life cycle loops. So let's try to learn these. The first ever component creation is nothing but constructor. It has a method constructor and which runs whenever Angular instantiates a particular component for the first time, and after that change detection happens. The ngOnChanges method detects the changes for the first phase, right? And it checks the all input changes and it acts accordingly, and updates view. If you want to update view before view gets initialized, you can update that over here as well. And after that ngOnInit method invokes itself, and ngOnInit actually used to do necessary initialization process based on some initial input. If we wanted to give it, we can do that as well in this method. Then we have ng-do-check method. So ng-do-check method actually detects changes every second, and it invokes itself even if there are no changes happens, right? So it doesn't care if there are any changes or not. It mm, detects changes every second and invoke itself, right? So it might affects our page performance. That's the reason we are not going to define this method in throughout our playlist or throughout our series or our course, because it affects page performance. After that, we have ng after content init method. So ng after content init method is nothing but it actually runs after parent and with all its child content has been initialized, right? So once parent and its child content has been initialized, then only this method runs, and at the moment, at that time, if we want to do something, we can do in this method. Then we have ng after content check method. So it checks the parent and its child's changes. If we have any changes over there, it checks for that changes, like it detects changes, right? And it invokes every change detection phase, right? So it checks every time if there are any changes checked for the childs or not. Then we have ng after view init. Ng after view init method is actually calls whenever we have various child views in a particular component template. It actually invokes or initializes the views of child components as well. And once all views are initialized, we come to the ng after view check method, and it actually tries to detect changes in the view, right? If there are any changes, then it actually informs the particular component there are some changes in the view, right? And after render, so we now, once we have done the change detection strategy, once we have completed it and we have done appropriate changes, now it's time to render those changes on the UI. Then after render method comes into place. It after next render method comes into picture. So what it does, it renders the first ever view whenever component or its all children's view and content has been initialized or checked. right? So once it actually renders only once when the first change detection cycle completes. But then after the second change detection cycle, the after render renders itself from the second time. Okay. So now from the second time onwards, after render method runs itself from the second change detection cycle onwards. So this is how there is a difference between these two methods, after next render and after render. After next render actually renders the content for the first time and for the first change detection cycle only. And from the second change detection cycle, we have a method after render, which actually invokes itself um, after each and every change detection cycle. Then we have component destruction method. So it actually invokes itself whenever a component going to destroy itself. And if you want to gather some information, if you want to collect some garbage, right, or if you want to unsubscribe from any services, if you want to, right, from any services or any observables, you can do that in this method itself, so that before destroying it, component could release its memory, right? So if you do not do that, then component can leak its memory, right? So memory leak can happen. So this is how all these components are, sorry, all these life cycle hooks are. And do not worry, today we have only seen the brief information about it. So the actual use of it, we are going to look into that as well in our upcoming videos. So whenever is necessary, I'll add the appropriate method over there to use it, right? And while using it, I'll again explain you what that method is, and what is the significance of that method, and what that method is doing over here, right? And at the time of example as well, so that you will understand each and every method more clearly. So this is how it is, the component life cycle is. And I hope you like this video. If you have get some understanding from it, hit like and share this with your friends. And do not forget to subscribe the channel and hit that bell icon, so that you never miss any upcoming videos from this channel. Thanks all guys, let's meet in next video.